try.
Sometimes I fail.
Yeah, at first you don't succeed. Never try again. That's what Homer says.
First, if you don't try, just go watch Netflix.
Yeah. First, if you don't succeed.
If you don't succeed. Oh my God.
That doesn't sound right.
See, you got me so prepped with all this other crap you've been saying that now that just sounds
awful. It sounds awful. Yeah, I don't need that in our lives.
And 10 levels of bad.
All right. Here's 10 levels of good, everybody coming at you. Oh, I haven't even opened my soundboard. There we go. Okay. We are off to the races, and we begin this show in 3, 2, 1.
Check the grind radio. Hey, the goddess!
Rebellious music.
Boss is the streets.
We have everything you need to live the young, hip, jet grind radio lifestyle. You skate, you groove, you bomb bricks, and run from the man.
Jet grind radio on Dreamcast, ready for team.
Good Lord.
You're right with the man.
Jeez. Sega, dude.
That was a lot.
Letting it rip. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Play Retro. It's your retro gaming podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, Scott Johnson. And look, I like both grinding and jetting, but it's always has to be the radio on. I have to do it with the radio on, okay? Otherwise, what are we even doing? So follow my cel-shaded ass into the big, busy city and help me deface some public property before the popo shows up. Maybe we can cast some dreams and catch a crazy taxi home later.
Yeah, and I'm your other DJ, Brian Dunaway, and I have just strapped on some magnetic rollerblades, filled my baggy pants with various huffable rattle cans, and it's time to get fired up, tuned in, and funked out to our favorite radio station starring DJ Professor Dr. Something Letterface. Ain't it funky now? Oh, no, it's the police. We got a jet. You bunch of rudies.
You got a jet. Hey, maybe you should grind. Don't jet. Grind.
Oh, grind. Well, grind. Well, we'll talk about regional differences in naming and why I played jet grind radio and some of my friends over the pond had played some jet set radio.
Yeah, feels like the waning days of Sega having alternate names across different regions. This is the kind of last of that, you know. We quit doing that after a while.
It's kind of interesting. We'll have to talk about it one day because there was, I don't know how much of and maybe Sega was a really good example of how to do it incorrectly. There used to be a very strong force of, there was a development area, and then there was companies in each of the countries like Europe and America where they mostly just did the marketing and they had some feedback so they could get everything regionalized really well. And maybe that's not as important anymore.
Not nearly. I mean, they used to have whole consoles with different names, and because they thought the Japanese market and U.S. market would treat them differently. PlayStation came along and said, nah, we're good. PlayStation across the board. We'll just do that. That worked.
Everybody knows what this is. PlayStation.
Yeah. And everything since then, like Nintendo doesn't do a Famicom versus a Nintendo Entertainment System. They do the Switch everywhere. So the hardware, I think, was the first thing to fall, and then pretty quickly you saw these big first-party titles stop trying to be unique to the regions. And even in the Dreamcast case, it was always called the Dreamcast, but everybody had a different colored logo depending on where you lived. And that was weird. Yeah. So anyway,
I got the Japanese version. Actually, you want to see my
Show me.
You want to see it? You want to see it? It's
Brian's got this great alternate camera with inlay on it. It's awesome. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on and everything.
There's my Dreamcast, Japanese Dreamcast, and it's a little more. Is it more red or orange? I think it's got a little more red in it than the North American orange.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. The blue is definitely Europe, though, right? Definitely.
Yeah, the blue is definitely Europe.
Yeah. So it's interesting they did that. What is your little VMU got in there? What's going on in there?
It has Jet Set Radio in it right now. So I'm actually running Jet Set Radio right now as we speak on my Dreamcast as I've been playing all week. So it's saying Jet Set Radio right there in the VMU if you want to take a little closer look at that.
So is the game itself localized to you, English and stuff, or is it purely a Japanese version with Japanese everything in it?
So I am playing the North American version of Jet Grind Radio on my Japanese Dreamcast that I have set the language to English.
Got it.
Because this is a self-boot disc. This is not the official one. So it runs just fine. And lots of times you could play some of these things across regions anyway, but I'm not sure about
That's true. That was around the time where that started to shift. And started to
It's tougher to do PAL to North America, but Japan... They are also on the NTSC.
The problem
But
with
it's a little bit
PAL,
different colors.
the problem with PAL was anyway, because it's not really an issue
Frames.
now, but it was frames exactly, and they would be different enough that it would just what a pain, what a stupid thing. Everybody needed to come together on that shit, make a standard decision, which kind of happened for them now because digital and 4K and all that. You just kind of have what you have, but. Back in the day, what a pain in the butt. And all your weird plugs, they're like the size of a freaking steak sandwich, man. What are you doing over there?
It's all about, and the TV is just representative of the power system that they decided. They said that we're going 50 in America, so we're going 60. And it's like, screw you guys.
Yeah.
We're going to power it this way.
Japan was like, we'll do whatever you want. You drop giant bombs
Well,
on
you
us.
guys are weird. Why are you guys always fighting?
You nuked us, and we would really like to just do whatever you're saying.
Right.
And
We just
calm down.
to just be left alone now, please. Thanks.
Thanks. We need to rebuild and dominate the electronics market, and then cars, and then we'll become a superpower again. That's how Japan sounds. That's them.
Yeah, I love the fact that we picked a totally unoffensive type of never existed Japanese voice.
Yeah, nobody like this exists.
No.
I think we're probably going to get emails from people who understand this regional stuff better. And if you do, great, because I'd like to understand it better.
That's
so
great.
Get that to
I
us.
love being educated.
Hell yeah.
Talking about.
Speaking of which, I educated myself on the horrendous past that Sonic the Hedgehog has in terms of home animation. I watched some early cartoons of Sonic the Hedgehog, like the earliest stuff. And I feel a little bad about it, but I'll tell you what, I couldn't turn it off. I just kind of had it going. You ever do that where it's, it's bad, but you're just going to let it go? You're just going to watch?
Absolutely. Did you watch this on the Peacock?
I was Peacock.
Or did you watch it on YouTube or something?
Maybe it was YouTube. I can't remember now.
Right.
I watched it somewhere with zero ads, so it must have been YouTube because I don't sub to Peacock.
Yeah. This was a Dick Entertainment Sega stuff, early 90s.
Yep.
And I watched a little bit of this. It was a little after mine and your time for being the right age to be consuming that. So I'm assuming you're talking about that version of Sonic and not another Sonic version. You said
correct. That is definitely the old one, yeah. There was also a 3D, I don't know if you remember the Donkey Kong Country 3D
oh
cartoon.
My God. That was that whole... I call it the reboot era because that was the de facto one for me that started all that we're going to do 3D that has practically no lighting effects and no textures.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it 3D animation.
Basically, yeah. In fact, here's an intro chat. You guys can hear it. I'll show a little bit of it. Hopefully this doesn't do anything to us. It's all on YouTube anyway. Here we go. Whoops. I also watched a bit of this, and it is dumb.
Just as horrific as you could imagine.
Maybe not as bad as maybe not quite
Did you just
as
pause on the donkey butt.
Yeah, I'm gonna screen cap it because it's amazing. Look at that.
Oh my God, that's the best. That is the most badonk I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's Badonk 64, baby. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's also terrible, and it was right around the era that you got Transformers, or not Transformers,
Beast Wars.
Transformers,
Beast Wars, which was actually managed to be so good, it overcame its terrible early 3D animation.
Well,
that's how good it was.
It was an amazing story. It had great VO, had really good episode structure, all that kind of stuff, and it saved it because the animation looked like ass. It was terrible. Yeah. Like Donkey Kong's ample butt is what it looked like. This looks like it looks like he's about to take a dump on the dock, and he's telling somebody behind, like, Diddy Kong, wait, I need a minute.
Right.
Give me a minute.
Wait, hold. Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong need time. Me need time.
Is that how he poops?
In the old days. Yeah. And then a little song would go doo 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 doo. Yep. Anyway, so we'll talk about all that coming up here in a second. I did want to mention that what else did I do? Oh, I mentioned it. It's this terrible Donkey Kong. So look, if you're out there looking and you're trying to find like old Pac-Man, old Mario cartoons, like the Super Mario Super Show, all that stuff, all on YouTube now, all the episodes. It's great.
That Pac-Man stuff was I actually like the Pac-Man stuff. I thought it was actually better than a lot.
I'll still be your friend, even though you're completely wrong about this assessment of the Pac-Man show. It was terrible.
I think the Pac-Man show was okay.
Oh, Brian, it's so bad. It's pretty bad.
I didn't say it was. Yeah,
You said it was okay.
it's okay. I said it. I'm going to stick with it.
Okay.
I invested, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
I liked it.
All right. I have no problem with that. I just think that, did you ever see the Christmas special or whatever it was? That was pretty bad.
Well, you can't count that. That's like judging Star Wars on the Ewoks Christmas special. That doesn't count.
Well, I mean,
That's like judging He-Man on Skeletor taking kids off to do whatever Skeletor is doing.
well, do you remember when Skeletor got, he learned about Christmas? I have a clip of that.
That's what I'm talking about. That was a great episode, but it's definitely not indicative of what the rest of He-Man was, right? It was a very special one-off.
Here he is,
episode.
right here. It's him talking about it. No, that's me doing it. Here you go.
I don't think I feel well.
Yeah, that was him realizing that the spirit
Yeah.
of Christmas had entered him, and he was
Yeah.
changing. You know.
I'm Skeletor, and I don't feel well. Till next time.
Till we meet again. That was my favorite. Where he would just run off in the distance and yell "Till we meet again" is amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
Anyway, Brian, what'd you get up to this week in your retro life?
Well, I didn't mean to, but I accidentally got involved. Okay, so we did Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio in the U.S., and so I was wanting to do Jet Set Future, and I wanted to see if I could have swore I had the Xbox disc somewhere, and I haven't played with my Xbox in a while. Anyway, this is where I ended up at. I ended up spending half the week learning about EDID. And what that is extended display identification data. And that's important because the HDMI adapter I have coming out of my Xbox, it is questionable. And I think one of the problems with is the hand shaping.
The hand shaking
and the timing. And as a result, I was looking at the EDID stuff, so maybe I could narrow it down. But anyway, I spent half the week looking at that stupid shit. Excuse my language. But I decided, you know what? Forget this crap. I think I'm just going to soft mod my OG Xbox like I did back in the day. So I ordered Tony Hawk 4 because we played it not that long ago, and it is one of the games that you can use to soft mod your Xbox. So stay tuned for that. I've got all the components ordered. I've got the Xbox controller USB adapter thing coming in. I've got a 512 megabyte thumbstick that's supposed to be compatible. I've got the Tony Hawk 4 coming in. I soft modded my system back in the day, I think with Splinter Cells when I think I used, or Mechasalt. It was one of those two.
Oh,
There's a
Mechasalt
handful
was
of games
mine.
you can-
Mechasalt was the one I had to use for everything to get that thing to soft mod. Yeah.
I think that's the one I might have used.
Also,
too. But
really
anyway,
good a game, by the way. That's the other thing everyone always forgets. That game was great at getting you to soft mod your thing and doing all kinds of weird
Yes.
stuff with your Xbox, but it was also legitimately a fantastic mech game. It was
a good
really
game.
good. Yeah.
Most of those soft mod games work on what is known as like a game save exploit, so you can actually run something from the game save, and that's the reason why the USB, because it emulates being a game save device and blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that, so stay tuned. And one of the reasons why I'm doing that is because the Xbox is capable of 420p in 720 and 1080i. And I'm hoping maybe if I remember correctly, some of the stuff you can do is force some of the 720p, and I'm hoping maybe that'll take care of some of my problems. We're going to see. It's an experiment.
Dr. Calhoun in the chat says he used Splinter Cell for his soft modding. I suppose that would probably work too. Yeah.
I've used Splinter Cell on the Xbox before as well with a friend of mine who I was helping soft mod. I've also used Splinter Cell did I soft mod my GameCube with Splinter Cell? Splinter Cell was a very exploited game, apparently, mostly through game saves, I believe. But yeah, that's a good one as well. Did you, while we're talking about all this stuff and speaking of really cool stuff and kind of doing some homebrew stuff, did you see what fun Bobby made us?
No, but I saw you talking about it, and then I got busy and didn't get a chance to see it. So I've been saving this surprise for myself. I don't know what we're talking about.
Do we need to wait until next time to talk more about it? But
Well,
I just to say Fun Bobby made a really cool thing. And
I
it's
mean,
on
we
the
can.
Discord server.
Where is it? In the Discord, like the main Discord?
It is, and I put the link to the direct channel. But if you go to the Play Retro so if you're listening out there, it's frogpants.com/Discord. It'll get you to the Discord server.
Super easy.
We got a Play Retro channel in there,
Yeah.
and Fun Bobby made something fun and cool. And my God, our freaking listeners and friends and community are just the most talented people.
All right, where I'm looking here. Hold on. This is Fun Bobby's his name?
Fun Bobby.
Hey,
Like
Fun
I said,
Bobby.
I put a link right there in the show notes, right next to my.
I don't
Brian
see
thing.
it. I don't see it.
Don't-
Why?
On the show notes.
Oh, there it
you
is.
don't-
I see it now.
Oh my God.
I see it now. All right, I'm going in. I'm going in, you guys. I'm going in.
I tried to make it as easy as possible.
Hey, boys, designed a 3D printed thing and then made a video to show you the thing. Or look, I haven't even seen this video. Let's see.
Dude,
Let me play
it's
this.
so good. And Fun Bobby is so fun.
dudes?
Fun Bobby lives
I made
up to his Fun Bobby name.
All right.
Check this out.
Let's see what he says. Okay. It's an SP.
The new SP we have,
Sorry, Chad. I don't have a great way to show this.
the new Ambernick SP.
Oh, what is that?
He's dropping the SP down into a 3D printed controller grip thing
Yeah, with our name on it.
with our names on it.
I wish I could show
Dropping
this.
down into some. I can't wait to show everybody this. This is amazing, though. He
Look at us.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to shit myself.
I know. That's exactly what I said in the channel.
Guys.
I said I'm going to Donkey Kong pier dump right here.
I mean, I'm blown away. I'm actually literally blown away by this. This is amazing.
Yeah, I was too.
I can't wait to see this. Is this really happening? Is it coming to us?
It's done. He's already made them, and he said he's got a few. If you watch at the end of the video, if you watch the whole video, he says at the very end that he's got several in different colors and stuff. And so, just if we're interested, let him know. And I said, dude, of course.
Oh my gosh.
Do it.
I'm beyond
Do it.
interested. You don't even know. So look at this chat. You clock it in. It says play retro and you think you're done. Nope. There's another level. This is like Mooncresta. Mooncresta, the 3D print. Man, you got 3 docking stages. Look at us. That's me and Brian. Look at us.
Look at us. A little arcade things there too, man. This is so cool. I love our
he gave
community
me
of
a
makers.
he gave me a mountain man mustache and beard. I don't know why, but
I love it.
I'll take it.
I love it.
like big
I'll
old
take
hot
it.
dog under my nose. That's
don't care. I love
that
it.
is freaking amazing. I will
Yeah.
show this off to everyone who cares. And all
Yeah.
and I will make them all
Good.
care. That's the other thing I'm gonna do.
Good job, Fun Bobby. For something very topical for us, I am really still enjoying my Ambernick SP. It is pretty dang cool. Even though there's been some discussion in the Discord server. Another reason to join the frogpants.com/Discord servers, because we've been talking all about the Ambernick RG35XX SP, which is the SP Game Boy Advance style looking device. And some people are complaining or notifying, maybe is probably a better word, people that it could be a potential fire hazard, which is pretty much no brainer, because if
Why is
you
that?
use a non-standard charger for this device, which is obviously very inexpensive and is shipped directly from China,
Yeah.
you're going to risk a chance of them not having the protection in place to handle a charger that is not the one that was made for it.
So what's
definitely
the-
keep the cable you have and
Yeah.
keep it, keep it a 5-volt charger.
That's
and
what I was
that
going
kind
to
of stuff.
ask.
You gotta
Yeah,
follow the rules.
charge it on the 5 and you're good. I have a little
Yeah.
thing where I charge all my stuff and it's like a big laid out brick and it's got all
Yeah.
these slots in it and they're 5-watt slots and there's the higher slots and all that. And that one is firmly with the cable it came with in the slot it's supposed to be in. So be careful, y'all. You don't want to burn down your house because of a damn handheld game device. That'd be terrible.
I both praise and hate the standardization of USB cables and HDMI video stuff, because it's both great because the compatibility is there, but then we get really kind of lazy sometimes and don't look at the specs. You used to have to really look at the specs on your chargers, and we've gotten to a time where you just assume everything's going to be logically smart and it's going to do what it's supposed to, but it's not always true.
Yeah.
Not always true.
Not always
Gotta
true.
be careful,
Yep. Do what you can
especially
to be
retro
safe.
gamers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, couple other
Stay
quick
safe.
things. Speaking of retro gamers, I'm working on a sticker / I don't know. What
Oh, sticker.
anyway, like what do you call those? Die cut sticker. You
Yeah.
see it on screen. For those at home, audio only. It's a. I drew this the other day. It's basically a big kind of cool angle on a version of a Game Boy. Although I call it the Frog Pants Game Man.
At our age, it's definitely the game, man.
Yeah, and then up top I put a little Play Retro, monochrome logo inside of the little
love
screen and stuff. Anyway, we're gonna make these. These are coming. They'll be
big
available.
how
soon.
big one can I get to put on the back of my car?
This-
I want it almost to fill my entire back windshield.
We
I
could-
want the police to pull me over and go, "Sir, this is not safe.
We could probably make them larger. Right now, I was eyeing like 4-inch high, but we could definitely do something like one-offs for me and you or something.
Right.
You could totally do that. The other one I'm working on is this little guy. Chat, you can see it before Brian does because his is going to take a second.
This makes me very much want to go, after playing Jet Set Radio and Jet Grind Radio, I really want to go tag everything, whether it be with stickers or rattle cans or whatever.
Yeah, even though they gave you that warning at the top of the game to not do that,
That's
to do
exactly
illegal
what I'm
activity.
Do. Is that the warning you're giving me, Jet Set Radio Sega?
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm going to go do.
They really don't want you to. But anyway, this other one's like it's Mario, but his head is like the Last of Us mushroom head. And
it terrifies me every time I see it. I don't think anything you've ever drawn has disturbed me as much as that picture. And I've seen a lot of gross stuff.
Yeah,
that you've done, because we're kids of the 80s and 90s, and we flourished in the gross imagery, right? We loved it.
Yeah.
And this may be, for some reason, the most disturbing thing I've ever seen you do.
Well, okay, I would ask you this though, if I can find it.
Yes.
Do I have it here? I do. Okay, so I did a comic a long time ago that is Mario talking to one of the ghosts from Mario, right? And this is what?
Yeah, Abu, right?
2017. Yeah, and he says
talking to Abu.
He says a ghost. Weird. So what were you like when you were alive? And then I have a version of what I think he looks like when he's alive. So the worst part about
my
this
favorite part is is from the pre-show discussion of the humans having a tailbone.
Yeah,
and you've got it as a finger.
It's a finger with a nail on it.
Is it a thumb or is it a finger?
It's a thumb,
looks like a thumb,
finger, whatever. It doesn't matter. Something gross and weird.
Disturbing.
Yeah,
I love it.
So those are the places my brain goes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's get to our main topic today and see if we can get our grind on or something like that.
Let's grind it out, baby.
Shall we play a game?
Indeed, we're going to talk about the game and a bit of a series, but mostly about Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind if you were here in the States. Or did I have that backwards?
No, you're right. That is correct. We are the odd man out this time around.
Right. We're
Jet
grind. Everybody else is set, but we're grind. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, this is an amazing game where you do graffiti art, you ride around Tony Hawk style and grind things.
With your rollerblades.
Yep.
This is it. Yeah, right.
Filling up on, got to fill up on paint. Everything's cel-shaded. A little crusty as I've been looking at it this week. It's I remember at the time being blown away. Now I think there's some aliasing issues and some other stuff. But anyway, yeah, it's all about sticking it to the man and getting down with the funky, fresh licks, you know?
Yeah. I got a little sense from you earlier in the week that you weren't enjoying your revisit to this game as much as you did in the past, because I think your disappointment level, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, was a little bit higher than maybe you expected. And a couple of things, like one thing you just mentioned is that anti-aliasing, which is one thing that a lot of retro gamers encounter, especially through emulation, because you may not be using scan lines or other things that hide these things, because even in the year 2000 when this came out on the Dreamcast, a lot of us were still using CRTs. We weren't, were we all using the CRT TVs, and so everything was scan line, and it really helped take the hard edge off of some of these graphics, and you wouldn't see that stuff. But that's one of the reasons why I hooked my real Dreamcast up this week and threw in some OBS shaders that allow me to put scan lines and a CRT curvature and everything else, because I knew I was going to be in store for some 2000 looking graphics. And it's fine.
It's fine. It's not a thing I think is that big of a deal. Like, I actually think it's okay. Right. My biggest complaint is, hold on, I gotta fix this stupid angle.
I love it. So you're turning on the OBS shaders. Very good.
I'm doing it now, just so we can have a little bit of something here. Hold on, I'm just reducing this. There we go. So you can see, and this isn't exactly right, but you can see how your old ass TV would hide those imperfections. Not all of them, but a lot of it, right? Like, there's still some like off in the distance perspective that still gets a little gritty. Obviously games were better at this than they'd ever been before, but in the early 3D days, that was a feature, not a bug, really. It was just kind of what you had. And it's worse, got better as time went on. I look forward to whatever they're working on next. They have a new Jet Grind game in the works, and I expect that thing to be huge and open world and beautiful and not have these problems, because we're better than that now. We don't need it.
We've had Borderlands, which was an amazing cel-shaded game. It's the one people usually think about, but Jet Grind, Jet Set was early of this, and it was reflective of something that was more style. This
Yeah.
game has a lot of style, and I haven't played this game in a very long time. And even when I played it back in the day, I didn't get it. And I say that week after week because as we explore more and more games and my visual vocabulary of what video games are increases, I become more appreciative of things like Jet Set Radio, Jet Grind Radio, especially with its style. From its reflection of late 90s popular culture. This was very intentional from the developers, Smilebit, Sega. And I think they did a fantastic job of capturing that. And then just like when we did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater a little while ago, this one also is steeped heavily in just great music of the time. And I just couldn't stop enjoying it all week. When I wasn't playing it either on my Steam Deck or using on the Dreamcast, I was loading up the Spotify song list, listening to some of these, we say
some
bangers.
great old tracks. Yeah, there's good stuff.
Yeah, we say bangers, and really, it really applies here. When you think of a banger, this is what you think of.
The the Xbox game actually, I think, has the superior soundtrack, and I really like it. I've been listening to that as well over the last couple of days, and I never even played that game back in the day.
It's curious that you would say, because I actually was thinking when I first started playing Jet Set Radio Future for the Xbox, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy this much more. And in the end, the games are kind of, you can almost say the games are different enough that it's two different experiences. And in the end, I think I still kind of prefer the original. I kind of appreciate the purity and just the whole popular culture that was going on, especially in Japan with the DJ culture of taking all of that stuff that we'd seen through the 80s and 90s and just remixing it and being anti-establishment and all of the youthful vigor of that time, because there was a real youth culture boom in Japan going on during the 2000s where they were very prevalent in everything popular culture. And so they were really leading the way. And as a result, they're all young and there's a lot of energy, a lot of color, a lot of life. And that I felt that more so here than in the 2002, which seemed to take on more of an American idea where it was a little bit more dark and a little grittier, maybe. Still a really good game and really interesting. But I think I like the purity of Tokyo Toe in the Jet Set Grind Radio. Because it really made me feel like I was having a unique experience that I didn't feel like I got later on.
I just hate, you know what else sucks? The camera blows.
Yes.
Blows goats.
Early 3D stuff.
Terrible.
This is the Dreamcast. We only have the one analog stick, and I've forgotten how brutal it is on the thumb. And you're right, because the N64 had, as much as we give the C buttons crap, it really is a second analog stick on the right-hand side for camera controls. You don't have that here. You have a quick tap of the trigger button to circle back around so that you can get repositioned in the world on the Dreamcast. And that was some rough. That was some rough early.
I found it really just disjointed the way it would move, and suddenly it would jerk because you were just slightly behind a thing, and then you're like, wait, what angle am I even looking at now? Like some of that stuff's it needs the future of refinement, which we would definitely get soon enough, and I'm sure that the new game will have all sorts of thoughts. You
define that pretty good, Scott, because that's the things that you intuit is pretty accurate on what I personally experienced and what I learned later on. Is they did have a really close camera. And once it was pointed out to me, I was like, oh yeah, that camera is way too close, because you're like right behind this third person, because you want to see these characters, right? Yeah. Because they're amazing, fun, cell-shaded.
There you go. Yep.
And so you want to see them. But as a result, you end up getting in places where it's like, oh, I feel like I can't see where I need to go next, because of the how close it is. But I will say that the gameplay, the simple gameplay of the first one, the game loop is just really appealing to me. I never got tired of it, even though the simplicity of the grinding, because we played Tony Hawk. I'm going to compare it a lot to Tony Hawk because that was what I thought in my head before going in, what I was going to see.
Yeah.
And it's not. Like when you grind, you don't have to balance. I'm over here trying to, when I first started playing this, I was trying to balance. And I was like, am I doing a good job? I think I'm doing a good job. No, it's just auto balancing with your magnetic shoes. And you know, the everything's floaty. So like when you jump, the characters kind of float. There's not a lot of gravity.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk was kind of free with that too, but it felt,
at least Tony Hawk felt grounded. It felt like it had gravity. It felt like you had more precision control, and this is less of that. And it's not. This isn't meant to be that either, obviously, because this isn't trying to be a skater game. It's more about an overall package of rebellion and cool and music. And by the way, running upstairs is ridiculous. It looks so bad.
The running upstairs is hilarious. That
so
man,
bad.
the animation, the character animation in this may be one of the brightest spots of the first game and the second game too. The movement these characters have are both fantastic and amazing, because your characters run around on rollerblades, and if you've ever walked in rollerblades,
yeah,
you're quite the spectacle.
Yeah, it is the worst way. If you're on a date and your date was, we're getting rollerblades and going down to the beach, don't do it where there's steps, okay? Because you're gonna look real dumb, and your girlfriend will not want to hang out with you.
When you're doing as the rollerblades would like to do, which is moving in you know, inline wheels, is cool. But anytime outside of that, you look like a big old dork, and I loved every minute of it.
Big old dork. Here's some sound from the first game, just for funsies.
Jet Grind Radio.
Ooh, already some attitude there, you know.
Yeah.
And then some gameplay. A lot of jumping around and yelling, yeah. That was a lot.
Hideki Naganuma. Make note of that name. He's the composer here, and he just brings such a unique
He's funky fresh.
take.
Yeah.
And man, it is so good. I have listened all week to that stuff, including a deep dive yesterday and today into a website called jetsetradio.live. And it is literally a bunch of pirate radio stations, essentially, on the internet, that are playing all kinds of incredible DJ level remixes of popular songs from mostly days gone by, but some more modern stuff too. As a matter of fact, it kind of freaked me out. I was like, oh boy, they're gonna get a copyright strike. And wait, this is their own website.
Yeah, this is them.
If they can host wherever they're hosted at is where they're subject to the laws of the land, just like your graffiti laws.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So,
they know what they're doing, and that's cool that they're doing that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a new game that is currently out called Bomb Rush Cyberfunk.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen that, that is basically people sick of waiting for Sega to do it, so they went ahead and made a spiritual sequel to the series. And it's very good, and currently on 33% off, is it? Oh, no, the sale ended, damn it.
Oh, are we post summer
sale, yeah.
Steam? Did that end yesterday? I can't remember.
It ended yesterday. So now we're back up to $39.99. I still think it's worth it, though. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, just something to keep in mind. Currently overwhelmingly positive, 97% average reviews on Steam. People really like it. It isn't just copying the formula. It brings some of its own stuff to the game, but it's pretty unabashedly inspired by Jet Set. And if you love that stuff, you'll love this. All cel-shaded, beautiful game. It's really good.
Yeah, it just fits so perfectly. Now, did you have a favorite from your GG gang that you played as? Did you like the default beat, or maybe you liked what's the game that called Power 5 or whatever? I always get the two styles confused. But yeah, there's Gum.
Yeah.
She's kind of she's kind of funky.
I'm not a gum guy. I think I went with the default guy. What was his name? Beat?
Yeah. Beat. Yeah, the guy with the glasses and the lightning.
Yeah, I think I mostly play. I know this week that's what I did, because I just did the shortest amount of resistance to playing the game, and I got right in. But I think even back in the day, That's just who I went.
There's not a lot of difference between beet, gum, or tab, who would later be called corn, but apparently was already called corn elsewhere. Apparently,
Why?
Really
What
confused me this
happened there?
week.
Why'd they change it from tab to corn?
I don't know, because the U.S. because once again the North American Sega guys got in there and said, no, they took a little spreadsheet out and said, no, we're not calling them corn. Click.
Do you think do you think they're in trouble? They thought they'd get in trouble for the band. That's not the K though. It's not.
I don't know. It's kind of funny because when you see the character Corn or Tab in the first one, he's wearing like a beanie kind of cap that kind of makes him look like a corn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it visually makes sense. But then, I don't know if there was some kind of worry or something that people would rebel against corn or something, but whatever Sega of America that booked a live event for graffiti art that almost got pulled by California.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's dangerous to do that,
it was that this game was kind of funny that it even, I don't even know if it could get, I don't know. It's funny because we've dealt with this a lot in video games in the past, like Grand Theft Auto. How do you portray people having a good time doing something illegal in a game?
That's because it's satire. It's fiction. It's not real. So it's like anything. It's like a book or a movie or anything. You just make it. And in this case, this is 90s dangerous, because in the 90s everybody was trying to over-regulate games because they were just sure that the game like this would teach a teenager how to go out and spray walls if he was otherwise not inclined to, which is of course horse shit, but that's what they thought.
I don't know, man. If I played this after playing this game this week, I really wanted to go do some graffiti art. And I actually even watched Eric Hayes, who was the graffiti artist that made some elements for this game. I've watched some YouTube videos and stuff from him, and I'm like, wow, I never really thought of it in that terms, but graffiti is art and not graffiti is vandalism. I don't want to go down the street to some building and vandalize, but I do want to go out with some rattle cans and and spray some plywood or something out my backyard, because that just seems cool.
You can do that. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing is, when I was a kid, and if I'd have played a game like this, or any game that made you, featured any sort of quote unquote crime or disobedience or whatever, I would not have ever tried it in real life. I would have enjoyed the fantasy, but I would never try it in real life because I didn't want to go to juvenile hall corrections. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it was never an issue for me. And that's where I always had a problem with these politicians, because I'm like, you think most kids are really that stupid? They're not. They're not that stupid.
That's what I'm thinking, because most of the kids who were most of the kids are young adults who had a Dreamcast, could afford a Dreamcast, or were in a spot to afford it. They probably weren't street gang people, and they weren't people out on the streets, the people who actually are spraying the paint because they're trying to express themselves artistically, because that's the only way they really have a space to express themselves. If you have a Dreamcast, you probably got a little bit of money. You're probably fine. And I just don't think, I'm with you, I just don't think it was going to be a big problem. And the fact that they were Sega also got ahead of this. They were like, oh, we know how this goes. They're gonna be upset that we're maybe encouraging graffiti or something. So they immediately went out ahead of time, and they said, we're gonna give so much money to graffiti cleanup and education, as well as bringing this game, because we think this game has I'm putting words in people's mouths, by the way. This game has artistic merit, is how I felt like that was the attitude of it. I don't know if this is fact, but that feels like the attitude of it. It's like, we're going to get ahead of this. And they did, as a result. And so they didn't get shut down. They did have their little graffiti contest, and people did send in their graffiti stuff. And there were people who won Dreamcast, and it was an amazing time. And I hate that I missed out on it. What a great thing to happen. And
it'd be awesome,
man.
Can you imagine that? It would have been a really cool thing, especially if you're good at that stuff. I've never done an ounce of graffiti art in my life, but it'd be fun to try. I don't think I could do it. They're too good at making fonts. You know what I mean? I can't do that. Shoot, I can't do letters. I can draw all kinds of shit. I ain't drawing no letters.
I'm not good at large scale artwork. I've always been a pencil and pen artist, so I work in the frame of a sheet of paper. If it gets larger than that, I have a lot of trouble. I don't like I don't like paint fumes. I don't know how these guys are running around out here. I know it's open air and stuff, but man, if I spray paint, I'm like, even outside, it's like, no, I can't do it. Mad respect to these people out here making this beautiful art, because it's the only way they can express themselves. But it was a lot of fun in game because they gave me a little touch of that. This is one of the things I really think makes the first one stand out is the graffiti quick time events is much more integral to the game. Whereas in the second one, the Jet Set Radio Future, you just pass by and spray.
You just push a button. Whereas, I read a thing about that back in the day, not recently, but back in the day, players didn't like the fiddliness of the QuickTime event. And I think that's why they changed it. In retrospect, we may all go, oh, maybe it was okay and we were a little too harsh on it. To me, it's always like, well, speaking of cell shading, it's like everybody freaking out about the art style for Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
And then it ends up being like one of the greatest, not just Zelda games, but video games of all time. Like what we think we want at the time isn't always what gamers, it's not what we don't always want what we think we want, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and we might not be ready for it. Like like they said in Back to the Future, your kids are going to love this. And it might be just one of those things where it's like, maybe it's just a little bit ahead of its time. And I think QuickTime events, for playing as someone who's played enough retro games at this point, I get it. It works really well for me, and it made the game stand out. And it was like, this is what the game is about. It's not about grinding. It's about hilariously trying to complete your graffiti work before the cops show up and hup and kill you. Or they don't kill you because it takes forever for them to finally just deject you when you fall to your knees and stuff. But it takes a real long time for those guys to catch up with you because you're faster, man. You're young, you're vibrant. Now there is a cop chasing you with a gun, and that's some serious stuff. That dude he's mad. But trying to get that graffiti done in a time before he gets to you, that's really the core game mechanic. There's a little exploration. Most of the towns, most of the streets and cities are small. Even the one that's based on Gotham and Chicago that we got here in Jet Grind Radio for us, suck it. Other places that eventually got it, but and so I thought it was great. I love the quick time part of that, and the fact that that was the biggest difference between the characters too. Like if you picked Beat, he was pretty easy to perform the graffiti QuickTime events, but you didn't get as many points. Gum was a little bit better, and so that's what you would want to do. If you were pursuing points, that's what you would do. You'd pick Gum, and you would go out there, and you would really tag it up, baby.
Yeah, why not? Now, if you jumped ahead a couple of years, you might have heard this. So you would have understood the concept of love, and also the rest of the soundtrack is kicking. Listen to this. I will stand by this. I think that the second game, Jet Set Radio Future, had the better soundtrack. I really like it.
I'm gonna say that I agree that you think the Jet Set Radio Future soundtrack is better.
Yeah,
because it is a little bit of a stylistic personal preference. And I think it's entirely valid for you to say that.
Yeah. For me, it was much more in line with the things I like. Like, I don't know. There were vibes of who made Vegas? My brain's not working. Crystal Method and Left Field and these electronica bands that I could not get enough of. Orbital and all those guys. And I was already, completely hooked on anything they ever did with the Wipeout games, the racing games. Which, by the way, one of these days, can we please do Wipeout? I want to talk about it.
We're gonna totally do Wipeout. We did one of the Wipeouts as part of another episode, but we need to do Wipeout proper.
Yeah, I need to do Wipeout Excel in particular because that game just freaking rules to this day. Anyway, because of that, I was a little bit more. I don't know. I vibed with this a little bit more this week anyway than I maybe would have back then. But I didn't actually play this version back then, and I don't know why. I think I maybe was like, well, I already played the first one on my Dreamcast. I really need to... And plus, I was feeling like kind of sadness for Sega things because this was a sign that they're done. This is them on a competing console. This is them not having their own thing to replace the Dreamcast, and now stuff is up on an Xbox and a PlayStation and these competing platforms, and that felt like not giving up, but it was just a sad an end of an era. I felt it.
Yeah, you encapsulated that feeling pretty good because I didn't realize that's how I felt too, but I did have that emotion the same way because I remember when Sega stepped out, when the Dreamcast finally they admitted failure and they said we're not doing this anymore. I was really devastated, and it took me a long time to get back to enjoying anything Sega was doing because they felt, I wouldn't say like a failure, but they feel like desperation. I don't know. It made me sad, like you said. It was just a sadness in my heart.
Yeah, and so I wanted to support them, but honestly, it's almost had to have taken this 25 years or whatever for me to go, you know what? I'm ready to love Sega on their own merits without any other tissue or connected issues. Like, just make me some great games. And they have been. They've been making the Yakuza games for decades, and they're amazing. They make they got this new, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set remake stuff coming. All those things are exciting to me. I love their arcade games. Like, I'm ready to, and then their PC side of things, like the Warhammer Total War games, are incredible. They're so good. Yeah, those are Sega studioed things and published. Like, they become good stewards and good publishers and all that stuff. It's time for me to shake off this old feeling of but the console wars, and just get back into the mode of like, no, you guys did exactly kind of what I wanted you to do. You know? Yeah. The Phoenix rose from the earth. It did. Yeah.
It did. It came back up. Now just don't blow it, because they really, I'm in a really good place with Sega because they've reset their feet. Yeah. They've had some success with the Sonic movie and that kind of stuff. And so, maybe they got a little money flowing, and they've got these new games they're looking at doing with Crazy Taxi and Jet Set, especially. Those are two of those two games live in the same space in my head because of the cell shading and the music and the attitude of it. Just don't blow it. Just don't overreach. Yeah. Because I'm so worried they're gonna like go, well, we got to make it modern. It's got to be, it's got to be Fortnite, or it's got to be. I just hope they don't do that, because Fortnite succeeded not because they were an established property, but because it just hit at the right time with the right people, and it clicked in just the right way. And it's such a unique event that's going to be impossible to reproduce. And so don't follow that.
I don't think do
something different.
To me, it seems like they don't and won't. I don't think they're even interested in that at all. They published Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Cannot recommend that enough. Fantastic game. JRPG, action JRPG thing. It was really good. More recently, they announced the Sonic Shadow Generations thing, which is coming out still. I think it's not out yet. They publish all of those very popular Persona games.
Yes.
And the other one, I forgot the name of. They've got, let's see, where's the other one I just saw that was coming? Can't find it. Anyway, they have all sorts of shit coming, and I respect them. I like them. I want them to continue to find great success. It doesn't all have to, come from nostalgia for the Genesis or whatever. If anything, I think they're doing themselves a disservice by putting Genesis collections everywhere and really hyping that up, and not moving forward and saying, where's my, I don't know. I mean, maybe they just never did as well, but where's my Saturn Mini? Where's my Dreamcast Mini? Or where are these games on Steam in their collections? Like, let that freak fly. Those were some really good years for them. Yeah. Game wise.
Did you get the Sega Dreamcast collection on Steam?
No. Is that a thing? I thought that
maybe
I asked for a thing that already exists. Tell me about it.
I will tell you this: if you want to, if you're not wanting to set up a bunch of crap like I did with the Dreamcast, everything else, you can just run over to Steam and get Jet Set Radio, and you can just pick it up on Steam in the Dreamcast collection. If you want to pick the whole thing up, they've got Crazy Taxi. They've got a bunch of great games.
Well, it's not bad. Normally $60. Right now, it's on sale for $37.63. Includes Crazy Taxi, Sega Bass Fishing, love it. Sonic DX. Adventure
Space
DX,
Channel 5.
Space Channel 5, Jet Set Radio, Nights into Dreams, and Sonic Adventure 2. You can buy them individually as well.
That's how it's $7.99 individually, and I've already picked up a few of these in the past. And Steam is kind enough to go, "Hey, we noticed you already have these titles in your collection. You want to finish out the collection?
Yeah.
It's only $20-something. So I appreciate that.
And most of these are Steam Deck certified. I didn't know that either.
Yep,
that's cool.
They are.
All right,
it's a great way to play these.
Damn it to hell! I'm gonna have to go buy this.
I did it the hard way. Damn it to hell!
I wish
they don't have.
They should put Choo Choo Rocket on here, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh, Choo Choo Rocket's great. I've got that. I got when I was messing with my Dreamcast. That was one of the ones I was getting set up.
Love Choo Choo Rocket.
We're gonna do a show on that one. Jet Set Radio Future from.
Also, they are failing. If their new Crazy Taxi doesn't start with "keep them separated," if they don't bring, if they don't bring the offspring back, we're screwed.
Offspring.
Like, what's even the point?
I will tell you this as well. As long as we're pointing to cultural icons of music or songs, I will say that the Jet Grind Radio of the we got some songs there in the U.S. that they didn't have other places. Specifically, that Rob Zombie Dragula version, which was in everything. Dragula was everywhere.
Yeah,
Dragula was everywhere in the early 2000s.
Do you remember their what's the album where it was like a naked 60s girl in a what do you call those things?
That was like one of their first popular.
Well, that was Rob Zombie on his own
successful.
though.
Yeah.
Zombie album. I'm gonna find this.
I'm gonna find Zombie album.
I wore that damn disc to a nub. I played that so much.
To a nub.
I really did. I just loved it.
Yeah.
Where is it? It is called. I can't find it. Remix albums.
I don't want to sing it too well because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But yeah,
something sexy, sweet, or something like that.
Sexy, sweet, man. You couldn't get away from Dragula during this time period, and I loved it in Jet Grind Radio. Your characters, they each had their own little songs and stuff, and we talked recently last week we did was it Toe Jam and Earl we did last week?
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much it seems like every week unintentionally, it seems like since we're doing the games in kind of like generational chunks, so we usually start like we'll start a series of episodes and we'll start at the arcade and we'll go like the 8 or 16-bit era. It kind of goes forward. And sometimes we've hit across some that seem like they've influenced others, like Toe Jam and Earl with that funky music. It kind of translated into what I was seeing with Jet Grind Radio and how important music was becoming for a lot of games during this time. As a matter of fact, so much so that they have an actual whole on the Jet Set Radio Live site. They actually have a Toe Jam and Earl channel. And I was like, huh.
Are you
look
kidding?
At that.
Toe Jam and Earl channel? That stuff.
Toe Jam and Earl.
Is it just that weird funk they do? It's the same thing?
It's just that weird funk, man. It's the weird funk. But did you stick your Dragula in, you stick your Rob Zombies in your Xbox and ever use it like is Gates and God intended to as a true multimedia device?
No, I used them in my car all the time. I would take Wipeout 1, Wipeout XL, and like other games, you have to make sure to skip track 1 or else you can blow your ears out. So don't play track 1. It's just a bunch of static. Oh, it's the worst.
How are you supposed to know when you stick it in your 6-disc changer that's in the trunk?
Well, you just have to know. I don't know how you do that. Can you program it to skip tracks? I don't know if that was the thing you could do or not. Maybe you could.
I'm sure you could, man. I mean, we had removable faceplates. We were doing all this stuff. We were doing all this stuff back then. Did you have a removable faceplate on your your radio in your car?
Hell yeah.
So because no one's going to steal it if they don't have the head unit's faceplate. You can stick that in your pocket, walking around with your faceplate in your pocket.
No,
crazy
you
times.
go into I forgot the name of the place, Big Audio something or other here in town, and
Big Audio Dynamite.
No, it's definitely not the band. But you'd go in there and you would it was like buying skins for your Fortnite character, except you were buying like physical skin for your freaking radio. And we did that all the time. It was a complete waste of money. I look back on it with shame. All right.
Oh, you shouldn't look back with a shame. You should look back on it with, that's curious. I guess we did a thing. But Future, I didn't ever play it until this past week because I was the same attitude as you. It's like, Sega on the Xbox. I want to play Xbox games, not Sega games on Xbox. And so, but I did find some interesting things. I didn't know it had a multiplayer kind of component to it. 2 players. You can, there's some challenge spots you can play. And I appreciate, thank you, game developer, who said, you can play the multiplayer game part in a training mode, so you can play against the CPU, so that doesn't sit on my, in my menu system unused, because I didn't have friends. I didn't have any friends when I was playing as a kid.
Yeah, Owen doesn't have a friend. Is how we say it.
Brian doesn't have a friend.
Yeah,
and so that always felt inaccessible. It's like, I can't play it by myself. I just got to play the multiplayer.
That reminds me of something. I have to tell you this story. I totally forgot to tell you this. I was at a family thing for the 4th of July, and my nephew's name is Owen. And sometimes Owen shows up in this chat room. All right, he comes in here all the time. Anyway, sweet kid, love Owen. He's the best. He was there, and somebody was saying, or his dad was saying, they were talking about when Owen was in school, junior high, and that he was having a hard time finding new friends at the new school. And Brian, it took every ounce of my soul not to yell, Owen doesn't have a friend.
Owen doesn't have a friend.
It was so hard to hold back.
It's eaten into our brains like a big giant worm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have like massive respect for his parents, and I didn't want to be a jerk, and they probably wouldn't get it anyway. It's an old ass movie. Nobody gets it.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it.
For those who don't know, Throw Mama from the Train is an amazing performance.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I might even have it here. Do I have Owen doesn't have a friend? Yeah, I do.
Owen doesn't have a friend.
There it is.
It'll be forever burnt into my head.
Yeah.
I will never be able to stop.
Yeah.
I will never be able to stop.
No, there's no way around it. Okay, I may have screwed up. Maybe this wasn't him on his own. Maybe this was a white zombie album that I cannot remember the name of. So hold on one second, everybody. I'm going to see if I can find it.
We're still doing Rob Zombie, and we're still doing music from that.
I'm obsessed right now.
You could be obsessed. It's okay.
It's a girl in a hammock, and she's in the 1960s, and she's kind of naked. You can't see anything, but that's the thing. And I can't find this album to save my freaking life.
Now, one thing that was kind of surprising for me, so I really got into playing Gum in the first one. So in the Jet Set Radio Future with the Xbox, you have returning cast of characters. You have the GGs. By the way, you got Noise Tanks. You have other games in this whole series. There's other gangs out there, kind of like the Warriors movie, where everybody's the theme gang kind of thing, and you go up against these people. But anyway, we have returning our core characters, Beat, Gum, or Tabcorn, or Corn Tab, whoever you want to call them.
Corn Tab.
And I still seem to like Gum, because I liked Beat in the original game, but Gum was really cool. I liked the animations that they did. However, some of the animations kind of risky, because then this time they go with like this low camera angle, and she's got a skirt on, and they keep doing these upskirt shots. I'm like, okay. I'm like, come on, Xbox 2002. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But so I played a little bit of Corn if I had to. There's a bunch of unlockable characters too. Man, we're not even getting anywhere near as deep as the culture and the fan cult that is around Jet Set Radio. The fact that people still play this game today and still are inspired to create art and music based off of this property. We cannot even come close to digging deep into this game. So we've kind of
I agree with you, but also I found this album. It's called Super Sexy Swingin' Sounds, and the reason I couldn't find it was a remix album that was kind of technoified, and man, did I play the living crap out of this album.
That
nonstop.
Is the Rob Zombie, White Zombie stuff, remix stuff is some of the best stuff.
So good.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it really is.
And the other thing is, Rob Zombie, also a cartoonist, right? I used to really like that about him.
Yeah.
He did this amazing inner piece of art on top of the disc itself. Let me put this up on screen so you guys can see it. And it looks like Boris Badenoff as the devil, basically.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was amazing. And
we get some of this stuff even today with Steam games and stuff, but man, it was so exciting to get like the extra stuff like Jet Set Grind and Jet Set Radio and stuff. When you get that, when you have the real game, I looked at some of the real game art and the packaging and everything. It was freaking phenomenal seeing all of this amazing artwork, CDs, albums, all of that kind of stuff mixed in with music has always been a passion of mine throughout all times as far as I've been alive. And I really appreciate the art books and stuff on Steam, but it just doesn't feel the same when you get a digital, download of that stuff and spend a couple extra dollars. It just doesn't seem to resonate with me like it did when I used to pop open a CD and pull out that laminated sheet of paper with lyrics and art and goofy stuff drawn within the margins and that kind of stuff. It's really a lost art because of a lost medium.
Yeah, it's not
don't distribute it.
Yeah, it's a thing you can still see and do, and they do special editions, and sometimes you can just buy a digital version that has a PDF or whatever. It just isn't the same exact experience. It's not ever going to be the same again.
Right?
Me and the video game. When I would buy a video game for my Genesis or my SNES or whatever, and I would go into the parking lot, sit in the car seat, and not even go home yet. Open that thing, take out the manual. Lovingly read every page. Like, whoa.
Oh, is that how you start your Sega? I didn't know that's how you started the Sega. Okay, next page.
Used to love that. That is the thing I miss. I absolutely miss that.
Yeah. That terrible chemical smell that from the plant, that all that stuff was, I'm sure it was carcinogenic that we were breathing in and stuff. Still, I loved it. I would sit there and I would sniff it.
Yeah. Freshly printed pages. Oh man. Something about it. Now, some of you at home are like, man, I played Jet Grind Radio, but it was on a handheld. And I would say to you, what? Sega! Jet Set Radio! Oh, man. Our friends at Vicarious Visions, known for their...
Those guys are back again.
Yeah, they did the Tony Hawk GBA games, and they did this as well. They did a lot of stuff that worked really well as sort of translations from 3D to handheld 2D, and I thought this was a very cool translation of this game. I enjoyed this maybe more. I have a bias toward GBA games. I know that.
Right.
I'll admit it. I think it's the greatest handheld ever, and maybe one of the greatest consoles ever. All that being said, I found this to be really fun. There's something. It's the 720 method of running around in a 2D world, recreate some of that fun. But they really had these I don't know what they used for it, but they really captured the animation of the characters in a way that even supersedes what they did with Tony Hawk. And I really had a ball with this, dude. I don't know how much time you spent with it, but I thought it was rad.
I did play a little bit of it, and I enjoyed what little I played of it, but I could tell I was not going to be able to play it long term because it's a simplified version of the original. And like you said, it's like a 720 style where it's more, top down 3/4 view. But they did a fantastic job of translating what they could to this format. But I was really how you go forward is you push up, so it's almost tank controls in any direction you're going into.
It doesn't let you change it. I wish you could change it, but it's all relative controls, which is kind of frustrating.
I didn't care for that very much, and I felt like the experience I had being short and brief is probably the best experience I could have with it.
Yeah.
Keeping it short, baby. Going, ooh, that was cool.
I totally agree. I mean, I agree with that assessment, but my playtime, weirdly, I got hooked on this one. I'll probably go back to this.
Did you play on the SP that you have?
I played it on the SP. That is correct. And it just felt like going home. Quick time events still there for the graffiti stuff. Yeah. It's surprising how much stuff like this works, and it's almost always Vicarious Visions doing it.
Vicarious Visions did a great job, like you said. They did that Tony Hawk stuff. And when I do emulate this one, I couldn't find a shader for this yet, but the Game Boy had a dot matrix type layout, so it had this really dots and stuff instead of having the scan lines.
Yeah, the GBA is different. It's weird.
Yeah.
I like it though. I mean, I know that there are filters because I've seen them in RetroArch, but I don't know if they're available on OBS. I'd like to use them.
Absolutely. RetroArch definitely has them. There's a bunch of really cool shaders in RetroArch and things, but I don't know what the equivalent is in the OBS shaders, but I'm looking for one.
And there's so many of these that I know that, well, the ones that you turned me on to, that zip has so many that I'll bet there's something in there that's equivalent to. We just haven't gone through them all. So I
like the VCR one. That one's a weird one with the little wavy lines and stuff. That one's fun.
Yeah. In fact, let's see. I have that right here, I think. Oh, no, I don't have it on this. Oh, well.
It's like, why would you want the lines, Brian? I want the lines.
Cancel. Hold on. Why won't this cancel?
While you're doing that, I'm going to share you what Keith just sent me. This is my this is one of the guys at one of the what's what I'm looking for, the resale shops, the places that sell old junk. And when he got a TV in,
what do you call that?
Sent me a picture.
Oh my gosh, you have a friend there that sends you old shit like
this? He'll send me if he gets something in this that looks unique or something, he'll send me pictures of it and say, hey, you got this in. And I'm like, oh cool, dude, console, floor TV, tube, wood grain.
You're gonna go get
cool.
it? You gonna get it?
Hell no, what am I gonna do with that? That thing's a Zenith though, but that is a monster, and I guarantee you that is some quality stuff. Somebody loved this thing. They took care of it. I can look at all the wood grain. It's got like 20 years worth of in-dust wax on it. It has been lovingly taken care of. And where the hell am I going to put this?
Let me show you the TV I want. I got a TV image that I'm going to share with everybody. You'll be able to see it too.
It would look go my Atari stuff though.
Look at that thing. I want this. I think it's black and white even. There might be color. I'm not sure.
Oh, nice.
It's got red, green, blue on the front.
Wood.
So, yeah.
I love it.
Look at this. And it has, you can't see them, but there's holes on the top inside of these side things so you can carry this beast around. Oh, I want this TV. It looks it looks like retro consumer or retro futurism.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of cassette futurism stuff. I love that.
Yeah. It looks like a tube TV and not necessarily, I'm not talking about the tube itself. I'm talking about forget all the transistors. Let's make everything a tube.
Yep. Everything's a tube.
And that's what it looks like.
And bring it on.
Looks like Fallout.
I also like those weird, like the Fallout TVs are like the old school.
Yeah.
They're almost like on a stand. And then the screen is separate. It's connected with a stock to the rest of the. I love that stuff.
I love that. Love the aesthetic of that.
I want one of those just to have around. I would love that.
That and those. I always wanted one of those ball TVs that hang from chains that were so popular in the 70s, those oranges and stuff that hang from the ceiling. I always thought those things were cool.
Those are pretty cool. Yeah, I just love that stuff. All right then. Let's move on, and everybody go play a version of Jet Set Radio. And like I said, if you've got $30 laying around, you're like, I just need to have this experience, but I want to do it in a modern way. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. I keep saying punk. Cyberfunk. So Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is really, really good. Not just at copying what made the first games great, but kind of doing its own thing and also making all those fans happy. It is, everybody I've talked to has played it, agrees with me. It is rad.
And if you want to get back a little bit further, but still pretty modern, Hover is kind of got that same vibe and has the music from Hideki. And there was a community project that didn't fare so well a couple years ago called Butterflies that is basically the original recreated. So, those are a couple of, there's some options there. Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, Hover, and Butterflies.
Yep. Get your bum in there.
Butterflies.
And stick it in and go.
Put your bum like Donkey Kong on a pier. Put your bum in there.
That's right. Do that now.
Destroy it.
Oh, look. It's time for Guess Our Game. Yeah, that's right, everybody. You want to guess a game? So do we. So we're going to go ahead and guess games. Brian and I both assembled some audio. These are from old games, and we have to try to guess what they are based on very little information. The information we give is platform and year, and then you get to choose from 4 options, A through D. I'm going to start this time, and Brian, I'm going to tell you right away, we're going way back for this one. Commodore 64 is your platform. Chat room, it has nothing to do with Choplifter, so calm yourselves down. Commodore 64, the year is 1986. Ooh. How do you feel about Commodore 64 games?
I love the Commodore. I'm not a fan of the way you spelled it, but I love some Commodore 64. I grew up on Commodore 64, and this is kind of late in the life cycle, 1986. I mean, those things were around for about 10 years. They managed to stay relevant for way longer than they needed to. So I'm interested in this.
Why did I put an A or an O?
I don't know why you spelled
an A.
Commodore, but I love it.
Yeah, Commodore.
Commodore.
All right, I fixed it. Let's let's go ahead and get to it. 86, Commodore 64. Here's your audio to start with. Now, it might be familiar, at least that's the hope.
Right.
Because that music should be familiar to you. All right, their sound chip is so cool.
I love that the SID chip is one of the best things that was ever made.
Yeah, it's so good. Compared to what was happening on PCs or other personal computer stuff at the time, is so much better than any of those. Anyway, there is your hints. Here is your options. This is either... did I highlight...
Oh,
that's you in there. A, Target Renegade. B, Impossible Mission. C, Kung Fu. Or D, Rambo. These are all Commodore games. Which one is it? Target Renegade, Impossible Mission, Kung Fu, or Rambo?
This sounds really familiar, but unfortunately, Impossible Mission, which I was looking at, Kung Fu, and Rambo, and Target. Okay, so I don't think about Target Renegade. Nothing.
Okay.
Impossible Mission doesn't sound anything like Impossible Mission to me. Kung Fu, I don't think so, but doesn't sound like Rambo. So I got to decide, is it going to be the thing I don't know, or maybe the Rambo? I've heard a lot of different Rambo things. That kind of feels like the Rambo vibe, but I never played it on the Commodore 64. I did play it on the Sega Master System. It did not sound like that. And I think I played part 3 anyway, so it might have been a totally different composer.
Sure.
So I'm going to go with Scott. Give me the D.
Give you the D. Give you the big D?
Give me the D.
All right. I'll give you the I went to school and I got the big D. That's part of a great song. Anyway, let's see. Is it that? Is it Rambo?
X-Chicken.
Whoops, wrong button. That is correct. Nicely
Yes.
done. You did it.
Nice.
You killed it.
And mostly the only thing that really tipped me over from A, Target Renegade, and D, Rambo, is because I got to say, Scott, give me the D. That was really the only thing that was the deciding factor on that.
Yeah. No, listen, I understand, and I also approve this message. Real quick, I want to show the chat what this looked like. There were no sound effects in this game. It was just music, which is kind of a bummer, but it looked really good, like animated really well, and characters were interesting, and Rambo's running through. He starts out throwing knives at everybody, but eventually gets all the missiles and guns and all the cool stuff.
That's good.
But he has a million knives. He just hucking knives out like a shooter, which I do not think was in any of the movies. And it's technically First Blood Part 2, which I guess is just straight up Rambo. But it's the second movie that this one's about. So
Right.
Anyway, there's that. Well done. Now let's see how I do. Tell me about my game or your game.
Oh, hi. So now we're in the TurboGrafx 16 era, 1988. Just a few years later. You may know this for the PC Engine, but here in the US, we knew it as the TurboGrafx 16.
Okay, let's see what we got. Well, this is early TurboGrafx 16, right? If this had been 88, this would have been early.
Yeah.
All right, give me my options. I think I have enough to go on.
All right, TurboGrafx 16, 1988. Your choices are A, Ninja Spirit, B, Shinobi, C, The Legend of Cage, or D, Ninja Gaiden.
Shit. These are all ninja games, man.
That was the idea. I'm like, what can I give Scott? Some ninjas, maybe? Some ninja.
It is definitely some ninjas.
Action.
Perfect time to get rated by Good Day Internet because
Good Day Internet come in and help Scott pick this which game it is. We're choosing between the audio for the TurboGrafx 16 from 1988.
Yeah.
It's going to be A, Ninja Spirit, B, Shinobi, C, The Legend of Cage, D, Ninja Gaiden. Welcome in
Okay.
Good day internet.
All
Okay,
right.
good one.
I'm going to say it's not Shinobi because Sega didn't put anything on the TurboGrafx that I'm aware of. So it's possible they did, but I don't think so. They'd been focused on what they were doing with the Master System at this point. So no Shinobi. A, Ninja Spirit. I don't even know what that is. Legend of Cage. Ninja Gaiden sounds too mainstream for this. It doesn't sound right to me. I'm going to go with Legend of Cage. I'm going to go C.
Legend of Cage. All right, Scott, give yourself what was the Donkey Kong thing we said earlier? Donkey butt.
Donkey butt. Do I get the donkey butt?
Donkey butt on the pier. You get the donkey butt, which
Damn
is
that sucks. Is it? Oh, the robot's laughing at me. What's the answer?
It's A, Ninja Spirit.
Oh shit! Never even heard of Ninja Spirit.
You gotta have a spirit of a ninja.
I'll tell you what I didn't do enough of growing up, or even when I was a young
Ninja
adult.
games?
I didn't play TurboGrafx in general. I just never got around to
me too.
checking that out. The best thing they had on there was that pinball game called. Well, I liked all the Bomberman stuff, but the pinball game called Demons.
Oh, that one we talked about. That was a really good one.
Demons.
And we talked about Splatterhouse. Demon.
Demon.
Not Demon Knight. Demons
Demon
of
Soul. Demon
Pinball.
Demon Pinball. Devil's Crush. That's it.
Devil's Crush.
Yeah, thank you, Chad.
I hope
That
one of
was,
our Good Day Internet people got that. Did they?
Nope,
it was Tondagosa.
Tondagosa. Old faithful Tondagosa. He knows the answers there.
Tonda knows.
Yeah, he
Tonda
knows.
loves his TurboGrafx 16.
I trust that guy. Well, this is a week where you won and I lost. That's rare.
Woohoo! It is rare.
That's very rare. Brian usually sucks at this game. Just kidding.
I do suck at this game. True story.
All right. We are going to now do a thing, which is what? Oh, we're going to welcome a brand new retro game into the fold, and we'll play a little thing for it. Here you go. Here you go.
This is Ken Griffey Jr. Let's play Major League Baseball.
Our brand new Welcome to Retro 20 years in Astro Boy Omega Factor. This is a GBA game that I love. It is incredibly underrated. Very good game. And worth playing now. It's great.
Yeah. A lot of these Astro Boy games are actually pretty good. I have been playing one that was for the PS2 GameCube era, excuse me. And I have not played Omega Factor.
Oh,
but
you
I'm
should.
interested now since they're now July 18th, 2004. Hey, 20 years. Welcome to Retro.
Yeah, the water's fine. You're great. If you haven't played this for real though, it is one of these great kind of I don't even know what to compare it to. It's not quite a beat 'em up. It's more Mega Man, I guess, but
I love it.
Not as hard as Mega Man, so it's not going to be nearly as punishing. It's kind of more fun than Mega Man.
I like
think.
Treasure games. This is from Treasure, so I like them.
No, Treasure doesn't know how to make garbage. They're great games. Their games are always good. By the way, the Rambo one I talked about was made by Ocean. We talk about them a lot.
Oh man, we get a lot of Ocean when it comes to Commodore 64, especially.
And Ocean was a lot of stuff. UK, I think.
UK, man. The UK love their Commodores too, man.
Yeah, Ocean's gone now.
They love their Amigas.
Yeah, they love their Amigas. They were into it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, there you go. July 18th, the day after my birthday this year. That game will be 20 years old, so celebrate.
Oh.
Celebrate in the way you know how, everyone.
Celebrate, Scott's getting old.
Come on.
Do. Come on.
Walking
Get up.
Walking slow. Yeah, give up for real. All right, time for some listener feedback.
Welcome to the Treasure Room.
Today we talk about a couple of texts that came to us at 801-471-0462, and I'll start with this one from an anonymous listener who says, have either of you seen Exodus 6.0? You can play 7,000 DOS games, and there are YouTube videos if you're interested. This is news to me. I had not heard of this.
I call it ExoDOS.
Is it ExoDOS?
I think that's the play on words. Probably Exodus, but I call it ExoDOS because it is. I have seen this. I do not. I'd messed around a little bit with this, but man, it is 7,000 DOS games. And so you better have some storage space. But I did look at this to try to see if I could kind of pick some of the games out because I did have a little trouble with some of the PC games. And that's what's so great about this project is that a lot of times there's little fiddly things you have to do with DOS games. And that's what this project kind of helps on. So if you're looking for a specific game, you know, I'm never a big fan of here's all the games in the world. And why don't you put them on your hard drive and keep them there forever? And I'm like, how about I just pick some things that I like?
Yeah.
And you've configured a few things for me already, and you've made my life easier. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. The thing is with these, well, this website, by the way, looks like it was developed in like 91 or something.
Right.
I don't know if that's on purpose, maybe, because that's the era, you know, the DOS era.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I probably have a lot fonder feelings for DOS than if I have to go face what DOS games are. I think I'm going to have a harder. I think it's going to be like, the magic has maybe waned a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, DOS games are really difficult because of the large amount of potential possibilities of the different platforms that they could have been played on, and any snapshot in time of, when whatever technology was hitting, it could be very difficult. Tonda in the chat room we mentioned earlier did point out that you can get the Exodots Lite, which does let you do like the a la carte. And I think that's what I did last time. Also, I think part of this project as well is the gaming magazines, if I remember correctly. And that was like one of the things that really turned me on first, if it's the same project I'm thinking of. Because I was like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Gaming magazines and articles plus the games?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
That's a lot.
I'm in.
That's cool. I mean, but I could almost just be as happy as that if you gave me an old box full of original PC Gamer magazines and just said, here, Scott, lay around all afternoon and look at these. I think I'd prefer that.
Okay. I know. Then Scott would kick his shoes off with his sock feet up in the air, laying on the floor.
Hell yeah.
On the rug, just flipping magazines, kicking his legs back and forth. Oh, I'm having fun now, Ma.
Speaking of which, one of my socks that I had been missing for about 3 weeks, I just saw it. It's right here. It's down here on the floor.
Hey, you all sock.
Yeah, only one, though, because the other one's upstairs where I originally thought I was missing it.
Right. Sitting very angrily waiting for his pair.
I got to stop doing that. My wife makes fun of me. Okay, we got this other message from, this is from Ryan in Vancouver Island. He is Gamer Guy Rye in the chat. I'm not sure what that means. Gamer Guy Rye, I think is the full name.
Gamer Guy
Rye?
I think is this Gamer Guy, right? It's not. What does the RU stand for?
Well, the RI is Ryan. No, it's Ryan. His first name is Ryan, so it's got to be Gamer Guy Rye.
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, anyway, he says Kian, the most delayed video game in history, is now released after 22 years for the Game Boy Advance. I don't know if you heard about this.
No, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, this is a thing. Let me pull this up. GBA. I meant to have a link and I didn't make one, but it is, there it is, the Kotaku article. So this was a game that was like forever. It had been announced. It was supposed to come out in 98, I think. Was announced in 97. It ended up not happening until now. It's been that long. Let's see if we can find a trailer. Here's the trailer. So what's wild to me, it's like a side-scrolling, like beat-em-up type deal. What's crazy to me, here's the trailer, folks.
Here's the trailer, folks.
Is that they decided to just go ahead and get there, They're like, you know what? We got all this work we did. You can get a physical version of the Game Boy Advance one or a digital version you can play on an emulator. I think I need to grab this.
I need the real thing because I can put this in my analog pocket. Probably need to double check that, of course, but it's called Kien, Kien. And it looks like the physical version is being distributed by Incube 8 Games. That's the number 8, Incube 8 Games. $60. And when you adjust for inflation, that's not the worst thing I've heard for a game that's been in development for how many years now?
Well,
physical copy,
the digital,
with manual and stickers.
The digital version's $9.99 is all, and it says here you can set it up and do it in 4 interest-free payments of $2.50 if you really like that.
They're offering the same for the 50. You know what I really hate? Shop pay. I hate that. I accidentally clicked on that because one time I was buying something online. It was like, in order to track this, you got to sign up for the shop pay to pay through that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but I do want to track my stuff. And then every time I go to a website and I type in my email address, and it has the shop pay, it automatically says, we're sending you a code to sign in. I'm like, I don't want you to sign me into every website forever. Shop pay. So I had to look how to get disconnect from that. But $4.99. How much you say?
$2.50 per month for 4 months or something.
That makes sense. I'm going to do that for 4 months for that.
For $9. Speaking of which, I got the domain frogpants.shop. Very excited about this.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we got some big stuff coming. Right now it's in park mode, so there's not much you can do there, but keep your eye on frogpants.shop. Maybe these stickers.
I think you should just forward it to jetsetradio.live.
That's right. That's right, baby. Okay, let us now get away from those things. And that's great, by the way. You guys send us this all you want. You send us your emails. You send us your texts, 801-471-0462 or playretroshow@gmail.com. It is time for the Retro Report. Over at retrogib.com, there's things going on. What's happening this week that we should tell people about?
Well, as usual, all our servers are still running. I checked on them this morning. Roller Coaster Tycoon server, Unreal Tournament 99, and Unreal Tournament 2004. All the information for how to get on and play those games are over at retrogib.com. If you don't know what the Roller Coaster Tycoon server is, there's an open source project that allows you to download some add-on files to add to your Roller Coaster Tycoon, and you can play online and build a park with other people. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Retro Achievements, thank you for the people who continue to give me follows over there. Retroachievements.org, I believe it is. And my name is Mission Deep. And we have a Frog Pants one that I'm trying to get Scott involved with. We'll see how that works out. Scott, have you set up a Retro Achievements thing yet?
I have not done it, no.
Man, come on. You've got the Ambernick SP over there. It's got
just
all that stuff built in.
I'm just not like I'm not an achievement monkey, you know?
Come on, but Chivos, Scott.
People love those. I know. People love the Chiefs. I'm more like, you know what? Suck at trophies and Chiefs. I'm a man.
This week was tough going, man. Last week I got a whole bunch of Toe Jam and Earl Chivos, but man, Jet Set Radio is stingy with them Chivos, baby. I didn't get but like one, I think.
I would eat a bag of Chivos, whatever those snacks are.
Bag of Chivos, yeah, puff Chivos. Those are delicious.
Get all that Chivo dust on your fingers.
Now we didn't do a watch party last week, but we've done those in the past, and we may be doing one today after the show. We're going to watch another episode of the original X-Men animated cartoon. I think we're on episode 5. Hopefully, it won't be as
weird as 4.
Poo-poo as that last one that was written by AI.
4 was very weird. I don't know what to make of it. But yeah, we're going to do that today. And after the show, the way it'll work, anybody here live or anybody anywhere on the Discord, you'll get a notification that we're going live. Hop in there, watch with us. There'll be us having commentary and hanging out. You'll be able to see the full thing on Discord. And you don't have to do anything special. Don't even have to be a patron. I will put the archive up for patrons so they can always have it. But for everybody live today, you can just get in and hang out with us for episode 5 of the X-Men from 97, not X-Men 97. How about that?
And if you missed out this week and you're listening now, head over to frogpants.com/Discord. You can join the Discord server and be prepared for next watch potty, which we do occasionally.
Yeah, watch potty. That's what we're doing.
Watch potty. Watch the potty.
Watch the potty, young boy, man. All right. The other thing is our next game. We're going to talk about Gradius next week, and I'm excited about this because of all their old school arcade shooters, Gradius is an all-time fave, and so I want to get back to that. That is the arcade classic shoot 'em up, known for its challenging gameplay and iconic power-ups system. We're going to explore the legacy of that game, how influential it was on new stuff, and play some more of it. So
back to the start, as we do occasionally. We're heading back to the arcade, right? We got up to the Xbox this time, so we got to start back.
We got to dial way back. Yeah, we got to. That's actually not a bad pattern. You go like arcade, and then there's a C64 thing, and then there's an NES game, and then move your way back up. Get too close to the edge, too close to the sun, and then pull back again.
Time to reset.
Anyway, head over there and check it out. And don't forget to support us on Patreon. Without your support, we don't do this show. So head to patreon.com/playretro. Be like Jason Warrens, our brand new patron.
Ooh.
Welcome, Jason Warrens. Here's a sound for you. Spawn. That's right. You have spawned. So congratulations.
I wish you could do that on Patreon every time you sign up, kind of like a sub on the Twitch or YouTube or something. Just you get a big old spawn.
Well, you know how people love websites that make noises they didn't ask for, so I'm sure that
I love it, man. I miss that so much. I got a chance to head back to the Proto Web site this past week because every time Sega comes up, I always want to go back and look at the Sega.com website from 2000s, and it's always a fascinating exploration.
Oh yeah, back when music would play when you'd enter a website. But anyway, Jason, thank you for being there. And Jason joins a bunch of really rad people. Come be part of that community today and get no commercials or ads of any kind ever by using that Patreon feed. You also get pre-show content every week and other monthly benefits, including some of this fun stuff we do on the side, like watching old X-Men cartoons and possibly some other cool stuff this year before this year is out. So watch for that. That's at patreon.com/playretro. Everything else is at frogpants.com/playretro. Brian, let's get out of here. Is there anything you'd like to add to what I've said?
Absolutely. Hey, could somebody show me how to make my Xbox work better?
Sure
with the
can.
EVID? Thanks, man.
Here you go. It's a copy of Dirt Monkey McGee 2. It'll let you get in. Bye, everybody. Go play something retro. I'll see you next week.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
And run from the man.
Run from the man.